Hey, welcome back to the 180 podcast. My name is Nick, your regular fun co-host guy, right? How you doing, Paul?
I'm doing good. I am your other regular fun co-host guy. I'm doing well. So, welcome back, everyone. We're here to talk to two very good friends of ours who've decided to make a significant life change recently, uh, living in I want to say Mercedes Sprinter van.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Be our first and last, probably.
yes, that they built from the ground up and have decided to take a journey into the unknown. So, welcome our two guests, and why don't you guys introduce yourselves and kind of tell us what has been happening with you guys up to this point?
Thanks for having us.
Yes. You want to start?
Sure. So hi, my name's Jeremy. I've been, let's see, I don't know how to say anymore.
In Scouts?
Okay, so Jeremy, why don't you tell us about your life as maybe a life in scouting, your career and profession, and maybe how life has been as a married man with Sophie.
Ooh, that's a big question. Yeah. Okay. Let's start from the beginning, I guess. So I've been in scouting since I was 8 years old. I started as a cub, became a scout, and then into my venture career. My venture company went through the same kind of problem we always had back then, which was all the kids decided to move away, or they decided to not continue as venture. So it really only came down to me and somebody else. So we couldn't really have a venture company anymore. So I ended up transitioning into being a scouter. And I started that when I was around 16 years old. And then I've been doing that until I was about 21, 22. And then an old friend of mine, Darren, Scouter Darren, introduced me to the 180th Rover crew. And so I joined them and became a Rover, where I met Sophie, my now wife. And yeah, so I was part of the Rover crew until I was about till 26. I graduated, and then we were there. I was there for a couple more years, I think. I can't remember.
Mhm.
Many years. We celebrate our 30th birthday together, so at least until you're 30. Oh, no, my 30th, and then your 30th. Yeah.
Wait, we're older than 30. Way more.
Yes, we are.
We're old. Anyway, so and then we decided to take our own time, and we saw this. Actually, you know what? Before we get onto the van life stuff, maybe I'll let my wife introduce herself.
Oh, your wife.
We'll keep it on a.
It still finds it weird to call Karina my wife. It's super weird.
You'll get used to it. Hi, everybody. My name is Sophia. I'm 34 years old this year, I think. I wish I was younger, but anyways. I was born and raised in Hong Kong, and I came to Canada when I was grade 12. Back in Hong Kong, I was a Cub Scout for several years, and I really enjoyed the program. So when I came to Canada and got invited to become a scouter, I jumped on that opportunity right away and joined the program. And that's how my scouting journey started in Canada. And I think a year or 2 years later, I got invited to the 180th Rover crew. And that's how I joined the crew. I don't know what else to say.
You were in it for a long time, right? I mean, 10 years.
Yeah, basically since the beginning of the crew until I graduated at the age of 26, when you have to graduate. In my last year, I ran for president with Scouter Paul and I think I won the election by 1 vote. So we're equally popular for the position.
That was quite the election. I remember.
That was quite
the high point of the election speeches.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you became a group commissioner for another group.
Oh yeah, that's right. So my scouting life in Canada has been a beaver leader, a scout trooper, venture advisor, as well as group commissioner for the 28th Richmond Scout Group, which has been quite a few amazing years of my time.
Yeah, so Nick, we're talking to two very experienced scout leaders. Jeremy's also been a group commissioner as well for a group.
And area commissioner.
And area commissioner.
Like, remind me.
All right, we hopefully want to get on the front page of the Woggle, which is the Scouts Canada monthly newsletter at some point. So they'll be wondering about the hardcore scouting experience of our guests.
Moving on.
Moving on. So how about you guys just touch a little bit about your professional careers, just a little bit, kind of what you do, not necessarily your career journey, but kind of what you're right now, and then maybe you can lead into like how into your story of making this transition in your life.
So right now I work for a company called the Great Little Box Company. We manufacture packaging products. And I am the continuous improvement manager, looking after the quality of products, food safety aspect of our products, and continuous improvement projects. I actually got into the company through my best friend, Claire's, who was also in the crew and one of the president in the past.
Second? Third.
Third. I think it's
third president.
I can't remember now. I don't know how much details I want to get into it, but I think the crew has a big part as to how I was able to get that job and feel confident in getting the job and doing what I do today. But maybe we can chat more about that later.
So I'm just an auto mechanic. I work at a Volkswagen dealership in Vancouver. I've been there for about 14 years. Oh my God. So yeah, that's what I do. And so like you're saying, Paul, how we transitioned into like what we do. So currently, if it's not a secret, I hope not, but like Sophia and I, we live in a van right now. And I mean, part of it is when the lifestyle kind of blew up on social media a couple years, like maybe 5-6 years ago. You know, everybody was seeing it and they were like, man, this is pretty sweet. You know, it's more sustainable, hopefully a more sustainable lifestyle. You can live in a smaller footprint, more minimalistic. And bonus is that, you know, you get to travel as well as live in the same place. But we never ever actually had any reason to do that. You know, like there's a lot of dreams that you have, and yours like, man, I wish I could do that. I wish I would have done that. And so we didn't really have that catalyst yet to make us take that first step to jump into it. But what happened was one of Sophia's coworkers, they were kind of doing this kind of lifestyle already, but they were doing it in a sailboat. So they were living on a sailboat. I can give you just a quick story for them is that they were in Greece and they saw a bunch of sailboats in Greece and they thought, wow, people live like this. They live on their sailboat and they just travel the world. So when they came home, they were so inspired that they, you know, sold all their stuff. They rented out their apartment. They bought a sailboat. They learned how to sail. They didn't know how to sail necessarily. They didn't know all that stuff, all the stuff you think you should know. But they, you know, slowly, step by step, learned, invested, and anyways, so yeah, so they currently live on their sailboat with plans to sail the world in a couple months due to this whole crisis we have right now. But yeah, what happened? So when I met them, we went on their sailboat maybe 2 years ago now, I guess.
Yeah.
Almost a year and a half ago. So I went on the sailboat and I heard their story, and I was so inspired by that like
within a week we bought a van.
Yeah, within a week we bought the van.
Within a week, like 7 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was the same couple in Salt Springs?
Yeah.
Yes. But
So-
before that, so that was in March when we went to his sailboat and then decided to buy a van. Back in January of that year, we went to Japan, and he was actually the person suggested that we should try it out first, because that's what he did when he went to Japan, is to rent out a camper van and travel around Japan. So we did it, and we thought, I think we can do that, even though that means parking outside 7-Eleven for the night to use their washroom and buy your breakfast and dessert there. But it was doable, at least for the 7 or 10 days that we had the van. So that kind of gave us the confidence that it's something that we could live with.
I don't remember the timing necessarily, but yeah. So we definitely had a trial run in Japan in a small little K-car van.
Mm-hmm.
So we traveled around Japan in a vehicle, and we lived out of it. So we didn't pay for hotel rooms or anything like that. So it was pretty sweet. We got to hang around different locations and go different places at night or in the morning. So that's what we did. And then, yeah, so anyways, after we went on the sailboat with our friends, I guess a week later we bought a van. The timing it's gone by so fast. I can't remember, but yeah. So we bought the van, and then we started doing I guess the design portion of it, and the planning, the pre-planning and the planning of like research, what kind of things we're going to do, what kind of things you want to do with it.
I just want to add that I think there was another catalyst that had happened the year before. We actually went car camping with another couple across the States. And we only went out for like a week, I think. But what we realized is that we miss having our dog with us when we travel. Right. So we thought, wouldn't it be nice to be able to travel around the world with our dog? So that was another reason as well.
Right.
Can I go first? Can I go first?
Of course. It's really encouraging to ask.
First of all, somehow when you mentioned about the couple in the sailboat and everything, I just thought of Pirates of the Caribbean and Jack Sparrow. But moving towards that, I know that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the van thing starts of like a escape movement, like busy city life is not for me, right? Just want to get in my van, get out to nature, have fun, and forget about all those stressful things, right? But then it kind of evolved into that lifestyle of revolving around sustainability, minimalism, living intentionally, stuff like that. And I think it's awesome, right? And so it feels like you guys really have fun during the van life in Japan and everything, right? Would you say that right after that it's kind of like everyone should try things like you did, like try taking our van first and taking small things and living it in maybe 2 weeks and then go from there, right? Would you say that everyone should do that?
If they're considering van life, I think it's a good idea to try it out first. I mean, even throughout the whole construction of the van or conversion of the van, we've taken the van out, even though it's only half built. Because when you take it out, try it out, then you know what you need, or you know what you want to change, or what's missing. So that's kind of the theme throughout the whole process, which is it's kind of like agile, You build something, you try it out, fix it, and then you keep building on it.
Continuous improvement.
Continuous improvement, exactly. I mean, even living, so this is our second month. We're almost 2 months now. There's still little things that we're adjusting, like we're taking things out, we're replacing some parts with something else that's more efficient or more useful. It's just something that you have to keep working towards to make your life easier.
So you mentioned 2 months ago. So can you tell us a little bit about like what was your life pre-van life? So what was your living situation and maybe some of the things that you kind of enjoy in this, and then what is it currently, and what kind of amenities do you have on the van compared to your previous situation? So what was your previous pre-van life? I mean, it was a pretty nice place. I've been there a few times.
Yeah, we have the luxury of living in a house that is 200 square feet with 2 floors, 3 bedroom,
2,000 square feet, right?
2,000 square feet.
Not Hong Kong.
With a backyard, so
now we have less than 200.
Yeah. So lots of space, entertainment from TV, karaoke machine, dishwashing machine, whatever you would find in a house. And right now, living in the van, we have a foot pump sink or faucet. So you don't just turn on and get water. You have to press your foot on the pump to get water, and only so little comes out. What else is different? We don't have a TV in the van. What else is there?
Well, I mean, like, so just to go back in the, so like we were living in a house. We were in a pretty nice neighborhood, super chill. You have everything you need, garden in the back.
Oh yeah, I miss gardening the most.
You know, central heating kind of thing, all that kind of stuff. But I kind of want to just go back to Nick's original question, which was, you know, should everybody try this? You know, I think when you asked that question, a part of me thought like, you know, it's this lifestyle is very romanticized, I think, and very much glorified on social media, especially because now it's more of a business now. You know, everybody's making YouTube videos on look at my van and, you know, look at my travels and my vlogs and stuff like that to kind of make money and stuff, and van conversions. And I think back then, you know, during our travels anyway, we kind of, you know, originally I think people started living out of their vans is because they didn't want to pay rent, right? And they wanted to save money and travel because they couldn't do that if you had rent every month. So I think that's an important thing to recognize, because like the lifestyle is different, and you have to have a goal to know that like, oh, I want to save money for XYZ, or you want to, whatever your reason is that you want to live in a small place. It doesn't have to be a van, right? It could be a small house, whatever. You have to have a reason for that. Otherwise it kind of gets lost in like, why do you live in a van, right?
Yeah, you got to have a strong purpose.
Yeah.
Because there's definitely a downside to living in a van, obviously, and you got to, you know, be okay with that.
Why would we leave our cushy house if we didn't really have a purpose? This sounds really weird, right? And that's definitely one of the things that we had to, the first questions we would get for sure is like, but you live in a house, why? But yeah, so like in the van, we have almost everything that you would have in your house, except
much smaller.
We don't have on-demand water. So like we don't have pressurized water. We don't have on-demand hot water. We do not have a flush toilet. We have a toilet.
We have a bucket.
So it's just a bucket
and a bottle.
But if you go camping, like especially for us, like scouts who, like for us who've been in scouts for so long, like using not having a toilet is not necessarily a
not
breaker.
A big deal.
So I mean, there's ways around it.
There's also limited space as well for storage.
Also limited space for storage. Limited space for food, like cold food storage. So like fridge, we have a small freezer fridge.
Limited amount of energy as well.
And limited amount of electricity. Yeah, we have to watch out how many appliances we plug into the plug, otherwise we could burn a fuse. And also our battery only has 200 amp hours, so if you don't recharge it somehow, then you don't have power.
So is there kind of, like, you guys are mentioning all these things now, did you kind of know, like, you guys knew all of this kind of going in because you've done some like pre-trips, right? But is there anything that kind of like stood out for you in terms of like, man, I really took that for granted when I had it in the house versus now? Or was it more, I kind of knew this already, like nothing really shocked you guys now that you had some training? Or was there a couple of things that you were kind of like, damn?
In a way we kind of expected, but I still feel like when it comes to electricity and water, we take it for granted. Because if we go without plugging in for 2 days, we run really low on power. Or how much energy it takes to power a laptop even, or to charge a cell phone.
I think if we were to ask me that from the very beginning, maybe 2 years ago, I would have been like, yeah, water and electricity. But I think because I did most of the research in terms of like that kind of stuff, like an energy audit and like, but I mean, and like even our experience when we're camping with water, like water is a very finite resource anyway. So yeah, that's definitely, the water was definitely harder. And then the electricity was like, it was eye-opening for me when I did the research on like if I did an energy audit on what kind of things we wanted to run and things that we wanted to use, and how much storage we would need in terms of electricity to like make it seem like we didn't have to worry about it. So yeah, I would say it was kind of gradual because like I did a lot of research during it. So yeah, we're just more mindful on what kind of things we use, how we use them, and how long we can use them.
It's also, I think it's also in a way scary to think about how much energy we used to use or how much water we used to quote unquote waste, which, I think a lot of people take those resources for granted.
So, you mentioned sustainability. So was that one of the driving forces, and have you changed other parts of your lifestyle because of it? Like, I would imagine waste is another one, right? Like if you're, you can't just make a 5-course meal and then, have a garbage bag full of stuff. That day you got to be pretty conservative with your space and your waste, I guess.
I think that's definitely one of the components, but I wouldn't say that we have gone all out in that yet, because I need to get used to living in the van first and foremost. But I do see ourselves down the road next with less packaging.
Yeah, we don't make our own soap just yet.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Oh no.
It's okay. It's better now.
Okay.
Sorry, we're stealing internet.
we're taking Wi-Fi from a building next door.
Borrowing internet. So.
Boring. Remember the Scout law? Or Scout promise. I don't remember which one.
The use of all resources.
That's true.
Internet.
Internet is a huge thing for me, right? So I don't know. That will be something.
It's not a finite resource. It's okay, guys.
Oh yeah. Well, I guess the other thing is internet. Now that we bring it up, internet is
okay.
I think
good lead in.
You're at home. You're like you just
go on
turn on your phone or you turn on your computer and you start consuming whatever content. And then, but like living mobily, especially in Canada, we don't have like
public
unlimited data or public Wi-Fi or always access to these kind of things. So you kind of rely on your phone plans, but like that's obviously very finite as well.
Yeah. So one quick story. So I was working from home, which is working from the van, one day because I was having a symptom. But we cannot be where we are now because there's employees coming in, so we have to go somewhere. So I ended up going onto Main Street, parked outside a coffee shop to use the Wi-Fi so I could actually work. And I was sitting in the passenger seat doing my work, kind of in a bit cramped of a position and not being able to move around. But that's kind of, what you got to do when you don't have Wi-Fi or don't have proper setup to work.
Yeah, we think you guys would have like a really big internet plan or something on your mobile devices or something like that.
We have 11 gigabyte per person. So, I mean, it's a decent amount. I never use it up. He does though.
Because I got a 20 gig plan for like $60 and I don't even use it because I'm in home all the time.
Yeah.
But,
use most of it.
I would have used it all.
I'll give you some of mine. Here.
We do need it.
Take some of my gigs.
Yeah.
I only use Wi-Fi. I don't even have data on my plans before. But I mean, catching up all of those things, like you mentioned a few of the challenges, right? Like internet, kind of like those home common thing, but it's now kind of scarce because of the van life. Are those things being emphasized by the pandemic right now, or is there other challenges that add on to it?
I mean, the things that the challenges like internet and water and electricity, they're not necessarily exacerbated by the pandemic. But we would have had these things if the pandemic didn't exist. All these challenges would still exist. I think the one challenge or couple challenges that are more prevalent during the pandemic are things like showering and like using the washroom kind of stuff, because our plan originally was to have like gym memberships, so like 24-hour gym memberships or whatever, right, kind of thing, so we could go to a different gym or whatever and shower at their place, or sometimes we go to
or at work.
Or at work, because both of our workplaces have showers, but it's kind of like,
but mine is closed
they're
right
closed,
now.
right? Like you don't want to be using them during this time.
Yeah.
Company policy it's closed, right? So you don't want to be doing that. So then obviously gyms, they are open now, but we never gone down that road since the pandemic started. Yeah. So like we've been lucky that like we've been going back to my mom's place, my parents' place. because that's where we kind of store a lot of our stuff, which is like pretty lucky also for us. Like we live in a van, but we also have a storage space.
Mm-hmm.
I think we would have rented a space.
Yeah.
I think like a storage locker.
A U-Haul or something, yeah.
Yeah, we would have rented someplace, but like we had the opportunity to use my old room. So we helped clean out my mom's house and my old room, got rid of a bunch of stuff. So we store a lot of our dry stuff there and like winter seasonal clothing and stuff like that whenever we want to switch out. So we are very lucky in terms of like we don't just have to rely on the van period in terms of storage and stuff like that. But yeah, pandemic wise, it's definitely made it harder to like just go to places,
yeah.
right?
Because I imagine that if it wasn't for COVID, we might be on a mountain or in a forest right now on the weekend, as opposed to station where we are now.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I'm going snowshoeing tomorrow, by the way.
Is that
well, I'm curious because I mean I'm seeing people still doing outdoor activities, even though there's like skiing and snowboarding and stuff like that and some hiking. So I'm just curious, why wouldn't you guys go to those places now? Is it because of the pandemic or just because the like accessibility of the places on the way there? Or
me personally, I think it's the pandemic because like I know it's a bit of a controversial subject in terms of like in BC anyway, or like with people, it's a pandemic, you should stay home. The order is you should stay home. But then like, so does that mean we can't go outdoors and stuff? But then we go outdoors. I'm not going that, you're not necessarily going with anybody outside your household, but then there's tons of other people there that are outside of your household. It's not like you can control that.
yeah, and you can still go to restaurants too and sit
exactly.
somewhat next to a person and eat.
Just to be on the safe side, I think we just decide not to do that stuff. And
because we're both still working and interacting with other people, we don't want to bring anything
I
back.
think less exposure the better, right? Like because I still go, I have to go into work, obviously I can car over to the internet, and Sophia needs to work at her location at the location office. So I think that's part of the reason why we don't necessarily, we have a couple times gone to like the trail or something and just gone hiking and stuff. But like usually we go when it's like raining heavily and it sucks. So that
and nobody's there.
And it's okay because we can just stay in the parking lot, right? It's not a big deal.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, for the record, I'm staying within Metro Vancouver. I'm not going outside of the city. Because we were gonna go to Victoria right before they said don't go out of the city.
Yeah.
And we had booked our Airbnb and everything, and it was like had to like beg for our money back. Like we literally booked a day before Bonnie Henry was like, everyone stay home. No going out this weekend. I think it was like the Thanksgiving weekend or something.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I
think even Christmas right now, right? Like last year I saw people, going celebrate, lights everywhere, parties everywhere. Right? This year's I think using the word sad is actually accurate.
I find it less stressful. Like you're not stressed to go meet people. You're not stressed to go hang out with family or people you don't really want to hang out with, or your parents' friends. Right? I do miss our Christmas dinner, but
it's good to have some me time and
us time. A lot of us time. A lot of us time.
This is your honeymoon.
Yeah, I had 8 years. Anyways, that's another story for another day.
Another podcast.
I guess we can ask this question in terms of getting context of how things are going for you. Like, has this really strengthened or changed your relationship, or has it kind of been, this is just another project that you guys would be doing anyways? Like, so Korea and I, like, we don't do like I do most of the podcast stuff. She still uses her laptop because she's like, I can't figure out this whole like setup you have here, Paul, with those cameras and like whatever. It's just a hobby of mine that I just started because of the pandemic. But I have Nick here, so it's okay. And she's doing gardening like crazy. She's doing hydroponics actually.
Nice.
Because we too cold outside anyways. But so how is this? Yeah. So back to my question, going off topic. But how has this affected your relationship with each other?
Van life or marriage?
Van life. Well, okay, van life. Marriage is another thing
We've been
altogether.
there for like 4 years now, so
Yeah.
4 years,
Has it?
something like that.
Has it changed us?
And it's only been 2 months. Everyone, it's still early.
I think living in a tight space, definitely, make us a little more anxious. Not anxious. What is the word?
I think we feel cooped up more often than we used to.
Yeah. But I think we're both also very accommodating, and we notice that kind of stuff, and we try to make it work. Like, for example, I noticed that he is not happy with me if I don't put things back to where they belong, or leave the dishes around. So I try to do more of that, just trying to do my part more. But
Spice is way smaller now than the double sink we used to have at home. So.
Yeah. So I do feel like it got better this month. Do you think so?
I think it's better. Like we're down to, we have a bit of a system now, down in terms of like, cooking and cleaning and eating and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's better now, but also like there are times where I think we do feel cooped up, but like it's been nice to start this journey during the pandemic also, because how should I say this? Like,
there's not much to do, really.
Yeah, there's not a lot to do. And secondly, like our schedules are so different that like I actually personally get a lot of alone time while she's at work. So like I wouldn't say I'm feeling cooped up all the time, because like we really only spend the weekends together in terms of like for long periods of time. Evenings, obviously the whole evenings we do, but during the day, like I do get a lot of alone time.
We also do a lot of things together now, like washing dishes, cooking, just because a lot of things need two people to coordinate, kind of like opening the door to bring the dishes in to do washing, drying the dishes, like everything takes more hands to do. So I feel like
I've never dried so many dishes in my life.
What are you guys cooking? Maybe that's another question. But what are you guys cooking there that needs like? I mean, is it more? I'm thinking less dishes, like one pot meals, right? Would make more sense.
It would.
It is definitely a lot. It is a lot less empirically. In total, it's less, but you still have to wash dishes. It's not like there are none.
Yeah, I mean, even the cutting board, the knife, the bowl that we use to eat.
Are there some van life recipes? Maybe what's your kind of top one or two recipes that you guys have learned to make in the van, or like is like van specific or no?
No, we actually don't look those up. Well, one because
like for yourselves. What's your go-to based on what you've learned?
We currently actually use the Instant Pot a lot more.
We use it to cook rice.
We use it to steam on most of our food.
Yeah,
because
it's
faster,
rice,
and it's just easier. Like we don't have to pan fry anything or stir fry stuff.
Because it's too oily, like how it's splash everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. And that's hard to clean / like see where it is and then clean it. But we do, so it's either like we either bake stuff or we do the Instant Pot.
So you guys have an electric stove or gas stove?
We have a gas stove.
Gas stove, and so it's a burner and it's an oven.
A 3-burner and an oven.
Okay, nice.
See, that's interesting because all I saw on social media, I assume people was gonna eat instant ramen and just buy like takeout stuff, right? And then eat it. Spend time to eat it instead of cooking because it seems more convenient. I don't know.
Yeah, eating out is definitely more convenient, but it's definitely more expensive, right? So kind of goes against what you're. It's what we're trying to do anyway. I know like not necessarily what everybody else's goals are in terms of living in a van.
I think COVID also forced us to cook more often since March.
Yeah, compared to living in the house, for sure.
Yeah, I've saved a lot of lunch money.
Yeah, me too.
From cooking at home and then cooking dinner, obviously. Less sporadic, like, hey, we're both tired. It's 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock. Let's just go to, I don't know, some restaurant, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Which is now easier because you have a vehicle.
Yeah, actually, it's nice sometimes because behind us is the Fraser River. So if it's a good day with the sun going down, we might go there and cook our dinner, maybe even eat there as well and enjoy the view. And it's only 2-3 minutes away from where we're stationed.
Yeah, so maybe it's a good idea to get started in the wintertime just to like get this part over with, because it's all good. It's all clear skies after this, or a little bit more clear.
Yeah, I think
it's
so.
Nicer. Yeah,
I think a lot of people were surprised we wanted to do this in November. But actually, I think it was a good idea, actually.
Yeah, because we actually got to use the summertime to travel and try out the van as we finish it off. Otherwise, we would be, I don't know.
Like we would be, I think if we were doing that, we would be, it wouldn't just, I don't know, it wouldn't be as comfortable maybe.
Yeah.
Because like, yeah, we didn't have to worry about all this stuff while we were like having fun in the summertime and camping and stuff like that. Yeah.
Cool. So what are some other locations that you guys like to take the van for the night? And I guess do you guys need a charging? Like you can charge it at work or charge the.
Yeah, we charge it where we're stationed right now. That's where we charge. Well, obviously we have solar panels on top, but you know that's
wintertime you don't get much.
Wintertime is it's not very reliable, and in this part of the hemisphere anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in the city there isn't a whole lot of places you can park overnight. We would have to go up to the mountain or go to a park, like a provincial park.
I think Vancouver area is it's making it really challenging for the solar panels compared to like tropical regions, stuff like that.
For sure.
I know my landlord likes to take his van. Oh, in case everyone don't know, my landlord actually lives in the van, so I can live in his unit. He usually likes to take it to Squamish, I think.
Yeah, it's a very popular place.
We've been to Squamish several times
to park out, but the city of Squamish is cracking down on that stuff. They don't really want people living on the street necessarily, but that's another issue. Like that's just a different social issue.
Have you guys met any people on this journey, like so far, like other people doing the same thing, or just?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Met a couple people, yeah.
Yeah, Fat Freddy.
Yeah, shout them out.
That's another.
They're blowing up a little bit on Instagram. So
okay.
Yeah.
It's Fat Freddy with 2 Y's. FREDDY.
Yeah, I think whenever we see other van life or when people see our van, we would normally check it out.
Yeah.
Check each other out. And then if they have an Instagram account, we'll follow each other. We'll learn.
Do you guys have one for the van, like just specifically for the van? I know you guys have one for the dog, which I don't think I follow.
We do. We're just not very good at
We're not very active at it.
It's called Soulmobile.
It's Soulmobile_life.
Oh, yeah.
Is it LYPHE?
LIFE.
Okay, cool.
What am I feeling like? It's like I'm not up to the trend now.
No, this is old trend. You don't want to be up to this. This is old trends. Okay, so mobile life. Okay, cool. Nick, do you have any questions about?
I actually just want to stay back and listen more, right? But I guess I have to speak up.
Would be something I need to share. We actually had 2 leaks since we moved into the van. So that was a couple of challenges that we had to solve. That was because the caulking that we have selected was the wrong kind.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we just started seeing drip coming off of the roof. Then we were like, no. But luckily, we were able to fix it, and we have a friend who were able to help us out.
I can sense Darren just shaking his head and coming over with a caulking gun with 2 babies in tow. Yeah, so did you guys cut into the roof? You guys need to cut in the roof of the fence, right?
Yeah, the whole conversion was quite a project actually, and I get to use a lot of tools that I've never used before. So, for example, the 2 vent that we have on the roof, I was actually up there cutting the square out using a jigsaw, which I've done before. That was kind of cool. The 2 windows that we have on the side, we also had to cut a hole out of the middle box, which was kind of scary because after I cut out one of them and we tried to dry fit the window, I saw a big gap in the corner.
Wow.
In retrospect, it was scary at the time, but in retrospect, it wasn't.
Okay. I was really scared.
At the time, when we were doing it, it was very scary. But now that I think about it afterwards, now that we've done it, it wasn't that bad.
Dude, Carino power tools, I would be shaking my boots.
Especially with something like this, like once you cut it, like there's no going back.
Yeah.
You can't fix it.
What can you do if you cut the hole too big? There's nothing
you can weld a piece of metal on it, no? You can weld it at work, but like a Volkswagen door panel on on the side.
Mhm.
Has there been any kind of security, I guess, something I've been curious about, like, because you think of like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? Like security before like food or even anything else. So has there been any kind of concerns, or do you guys have any like cameras or alarm systems or something set up in the van?
Yeah, that's a really, really good question. I think that's still something that makes me nervous. Even if I'm just parked on the street or even in a parking lot, I'm always scared that somebody's gonna break in because a lot of our valuables are in here, and we don't have
very
much
many
of
values
a
anyway. That's one of the reasons. That's one of the things that we have done consciously to kind of like manage that risk, is to not have anything valuable in here other than the entire van itself.
Yeah.
But we don't have that many valuables in here.
I'll be so devastated if somebody broke in.
Like ransack your van, yeah. That would be
Because we know somebody who did
Mm.
get broken into. The guy who just got the van and with all the vans.
Right. Yes.
I forgot what's his name is.
Another guy that I used, another van lifer that we kind of follow. I've never actually met him yet. But yeah, he was doing a build. He's doing his build, and then it got broken into, and he got a bunch of stuff stolen. But I think in terms of like all of our valuables here, in terms of the van,
it's
like,
something that we could lose. It's
it's
monetary,
just like a camera or something, or like a cell, like our laptop, stuff like that. But like anything else in terms of like the electronics for the van itself and stuff like that, like if that was all stolen, like they would have to take the van apart to get it. So it's like, okay, if you're gonna take it, you have to take it.
Yeah.
But otherwise, like in terms of like cameras or like extra locks and stuff, like yes and no. Like I've researched a lot of that stuff and like how we could at least add some deterrence, because I think overall, at least I'm of the mindset that like if somebody wants to come in and take something, they're just gonna do it. There's not much you can do about that. You can only try to make it harder for them to do it, right? So that when they're in the process of it, they can like the risk reward is not worth it, right?
Like a casual van robber, if you can deter them, that's probably most of the people.
Kind of like, be mindful of where you're leaving the vehicle and stuff like that.
Yeah, and we try to be stealth by having these window cover where it's black on the outside, so you can't really look in. And also we have a curtain up front to block off.
We're considering getting somebody to just put a shell, like
a company name on the outside.
Company name on the outside, like somebody's restoration or something.
Podcast code. Podcast code.
180 restoration or something.
Yeah, 180 restorations. Or like Somo plumbing.
And I have a safety vest in the front.
I think you guys should do that. There's those magnetic ones that you can get, those big, like, or the vinyl ones you can just stick on and just put it on there.
I'm still waiting to get some door locks anyway from the outside, so we can just lock the doors together. Otherwise, because there are some pretty serious things that people have done to like, from alarm systems to like cameras and stuff, but I don't think we live in an area necessarily that we need to do that also.
Yeah, if it was me, I would want at least a camera like outside or some sort of like 360, like, because that's the thing I've noticed. Like I slept in a car once or twice.
And we're not going to ask why.
Yeah, that's the first time I hear about this.
I've slept in a car once or twice, and one of the things that I'd be worried about is just like, if you wanted to cover things up, just the unknown of the outside, right? Even if it's like a pedestrian, like you don't know it's a pedestrian. It could be someone sneaking up in the van, right? You don't know if it's just someone taking a walk or a group of people or whatever. So just the unknown is already like, I would be fearful of just not knowing what's outside.
I think we've watched a video or two where van lifer said, this is your home, and if you get into a car accident or your van gets stolen, that's it. And you kind of have to be prepared for that, or at least realize that this is one of the possible scenario as a van lifer.
Okay, that's good to know. Maybe you can switch gears a little bit. Now that we kind of know like what the situation is, I guess going backwards, and this is what I'm saying, going backwards and forwards, going back to the purpose, like the why. Why is the sky blue or white today? The guy's white, by the way, outside.
Classic.
Science.
Classic.
So I read a couple of reasons why people do this, but maybe going back to what Nick was saying about like, would you recommend this, and like, why would someone do this? Like, what were your driving like motivations? Were those a priority? Was it just the excitement? Was it just saving money? because I mean, you guys have the Instagram. I can see like some people wanting to kind of record it and kind of use it as a media or something, right? Like it'd be great. You guys could have your own show and dabble in that. Like that's kind of what Mustafa told us in the previous episode was his passion. Like he likes social media. He liked creating stuff. Why not do it for yourself? So I guess what was the? Is there something you guys can pin it on? I know there's a lot of catalysts, but just is it mainly like we're in our 30s, and or was it something more material, in your opinion?
I think it's a pursuit of happiness, making your dream come true. I mean, like all the other reasons gives you a happier life, right? Like reducing your debt, travel around the world, all these things make you happy. And I think just taking the steps to make it happen is part of the journey to that happiness. At least that's my perspective. On top of, trying to live a more minimalistic life, a more sustainable life, and so on and so forth. That's me. We never talked about this.
Well, I think to piggyback off of it, I think hers was more that answer
The
is
fluffy
good.
answer.
Yeah.
Good.
My initial reaction was so that we could travel more and do more things that we want to do, versus like the what do you call it, the suburban expectation life, which is get a house, get a mortgage, or sorry, get a good education, get a good job, get a house, get married, have kids, that kind of thing. Not that those things are bad, and that we didn't rule, and it's not like we didn't plan any of those things. Also, we definitely talked about all those things previously, and like how we would achieve those things and if we wanted to achieve those things. But I think like we didn't want to be stuck to like, let's work until we're 60, 65 and then start traveling and then start enjoying the world, right? Like why can't we do that now? And especially now that in this day and age with internet and that kind of stuff, and it's just how much knowledge you can get so easily. It's like you have to do it now. You might as well do it now because you can, so you should. So I think that's why we did this, is like, and try to get out of debt, get out of our jobs, because ideally we want to quit our jobs in a couple of years so that we can travel for an extended period of time, and not have to rely necessarily on we have to have a job, or we have to have XYZ. But having an income is important because we do have to live, right? So you do have to be able to find ways around it, right? Either you have an income or you saved or whatever it is. But
I feel like talking to a lot of people in this age, like I got a somewhat similar, I guess what I sense is like kind of like just doing stuff with more purpose than before almost. Like, okay, this is a much more simple example for me is I got a desk here and we didn't have a desk in the living room. I live in a 500 square foot place. It's only a little bit smaller, bigger than your place right now. But we recently decided to get rid of our dining table because we're like it's mostly you and me, so we need more flexibility in the stuff that we use all the time. So our coffee table actually becomes a dining table. It moves up and down and it opens up, and then this desk is a standing desk. So it's kind of like that's what we're using. Like we're not having 6 people over dinner or 5 people over dinner. Like why have a dining table be an office desk? Just get rid of it. And we had like a little coffee bar thing that had like books and like old hard drives. Like there's just stuff in your house that you're like, stuff has always been there, but we're like, we live in a small place, and what do we really do? And we make coffee, we make drinks, we make bread. So now it holds all my flour and sugar, and it holds drinks, and all the books just go out the window because I don't read that many books. Even though I like to show books on this side too sometimes. But I guess it's more like living with purpose, and that's as you get older. I mean, Sophie, you joke that you wish you were younger, but I think it's kind of nice being in our 30s and taking the things we've learned in our 20s, and we have the financial means, we have the experience to make maybe more daring decisions without fear of the repercussions of society or of financially or whatever, because we know we can do anything, right? John always told us we can do anything.
Yes, you can.
So yeah, I don't know. Nick, do you have any comment? Like how do you find any inspiration for what they're doing, or what's your perspective? Do you think it's just a
So
bunch of crazy old people that wish they did things in their 20s, or
so like first of all, like this bunch of things going on around my head right now, right? Like I don't know how to organize them because the first thing is that coming on, Sophie and Jeremy's uh talking about traveling a lot, like why would you wait until like 65 and not travel now and everything, right? I think that even if you can doing that at a later time, the experience you have would not be the same when if you were traveling at my age or someone 25 or 26 because um, your energy is kind of different, right? And the things you enjoy is different as well. And I guess most of all, the things that are available right now maybe not, it's not going to be available 20 years in the future, stuff like that. Second thing is that wow, I learned, like each time we have a podcast, Paul, I learn a little bit more about you, right? That I didn't know exist. uh,
I'm curious what it is.
Paul is a very thick book you have to read.
I think I'm just on the first page or second page or something. um, anyway, I guess I mean coming on, your comment about what do I think about you guys comment. I think that first of all, I'm glad that I'm being here and being able to hear all of this, right? There are some mistakes that I don't have to make in the future, right? Because I get to listen to this, and also like uh, the things you talk about living intentionally, right? I live in a house with three different people now. It's gonna be six. Used to be seven, right? It's gonna be a really crowded place. Like some of us, like squeezing two people in the same bedrooms, right? We share the same kitchen, we share the same bathroom, right? We have the same living room and dining location and everything. So even if I were to be, if I want to be more intentional of the things I bring into the house, sometimes it's to also express and communicate with other people who's living with you as well, right? I think it's a hard thing to do, but it's definitely gonna be rewarding, right? Because sometimes you live in the house and you just bring in whatever you think is fun, think it's interesting, think it's good for your place, and then right now at Christmas coming and everything, I looked at my house after the final exam and was like, why all these stuffs here? Why are so many boxes in the living room? Right? I actually really just recycle a bunch of stuff and sell a lot of stuff. There are more space now, which is fantastic. But before, literally boxes everywhere in the living room. Like you would think that this is a house that somebody just move in or somebody's gonna move out soon, right? But yeah, but it's funny like how talking about all of this, you know, like how I can relate all this to my current life, even though I do not have a van right now or I don't live in an apartment right now. But it's, I think it's something that everyone can relate to about this, being intentional and what things you decided to bring to your life and specifically into your house.
Speaking of getting rid of things, I found the process of getting rid of things very therapeutic. There were things um, that were from my primary school time, like a certificate of I don't know, a performance that I did, or a report card from my middle school that I've been holding on to for a long time because I felt like I had to keep it to prove who I am. But this recent purge, I was able to let go because what I have now is makes who I am, not the past. And just that dumping of the documents was super relieving for some odd reason, super therapeutic. Um, so I think that book by this Japanese lady, the joy
Maria
of
Kondo?
yeah, Mary Kondo, is there's really it's a really thoughtful book, I think, that everybody should read.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if that piece of paper brought you joy, and
No, because
no?
the grades weren't
Yeah.
good.
Horrible childhood. And I don't want to.
I think my mom kept all of my certificates, grades, and everything paper in like boxes and stuff. I think it's tradition. in a lot of families, I think.
Yeah, but going through the exercise and examining what's really useful to your life, what really brings you joy, is a good exercise to go through, even if you're not moving into a van.
Here's a question. So we kind of talked about this a little bit, but I think the world is different too. I think, to say that we would have done this in our 20s, like if you guys remember our 20s, right? Like we're definitely different mindset, right? But even society was different. How has the social impact of this lifestyle affected you guys? So things like, what do your friends think? What does your family think? Right? Like, has that, or even people like you kind of know, but like even people you might meet on the street, like, hey, I live in a van or whatever. How has that experience been for you guys?
I think from our family, it's been confusion, or the people who don't understand it, I guess. Mainly in the traditional Asian community, where they're kind of confused as to why you would do this.
Well, even my boss asked me, why are you doing this? You have a house.
Well, I guess like most, but then, because I think it's helped because of like it's how much it's blown up necessarily, like this lifestyle's blown up in terms of social media, that like a lot of people do get it. But like also it's different, because I think the reason we do it is not necessarily the reason why, like I said before, like the reason why it's so romanticized on social media is not necessarily it's not all bikini photos in front of a sunset, right, kind of thing. It's not that. But I think like our friends, after we kind of get to talk about why we do it, it makes more sense. The initial reaction is, confusion, and they just want to know why.
But I don't think that ever affected how we feel towards it or our decision at all. Because as soon as we have tried it in Japan and visited my coworker in his boat, I think we were so determined to just do it.
Yeah.
I don't think we've wavered a bit since then, despite what everybody else thought.
I think, otherwise it's been like most people are pretty, it's either, I guess, two camps. One it's confusion, and then they understand afterwards. But then the second camp is like, oh, that's great. Like, that's awesome. I wish I was doing it.
Yeah, I think we got more of that type of comments, and we have quite a few friends who helped out with our van as well. So a lot of supportive voices. I mean, the family letting us keep our furniture and stuff in their place is a sign of support as well, right?
Yeah. So Sophie, your parents aren't in Vancouver, right? They're still in Asia right now. Sophie, your parents.
My parents are in Malaysia.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
My parents are local.
Okay. Do you guys think you could have done this alone though?
No.
Not me. Because I think.
Wait, what do you mean by alone? Like alone, or you mean without family support?
I guess either way. If your parents were really like against it, or if you guys were doing, because a lot of the van life I've seen in terms of building one has been single, because like people are like in a smaller, like they can do it in a minivan and they have all these little nooks and crannies, but a lot of them are single people who are recording their life. But you guys are doing it together, like. So my question,
so let's talk
with your family, or if you were.
So if we're to do it alone,
either
on his own or I do it, I don't think I could have done it. I don't know about you.
I would have. For sure.
Because I think there's a lot of car mechanic, electricity, like things that
practical nature more so than social nature.
Yeah. My interest is more so the truck. I might do it in my own, but more of a weekend camper van, not living in a camping van.
Or buying a camper van that's already been
built. Yeah. Exactly.
But other than that, would you do it? If you had to build a camper van, solo, single lady.
Me? Yeah. Yeah. I've always enjoyed camping and being outdoor.
Because I mean, I'm thinking about my 20s, and I feel like it is affected a lot by society's acceptance of certain things. So acceptance of a van life, maybe not the same today as it was yesterday, but even today, like our parents would probably have some eyebrows raised. But I would feel like, okay, if there was someone with me, I could face the world, society, and the practical security together. Whereas like if you're alone, you can't even have someone like watch over like the van if you're out, just throwing the garbage or something, right? You need that other person. So I just wonder how much of that is the partnership that you guys have, that you're able to face these things. Like, because you guys said like, no worries, we'll do it anyways. But how different would it be if you were doing it by yourself, right?
I think to me, that's a huge part of it. is to be able to do it with Jeremy together. I would say that makes up 90% of my willingness of making it happen. If I was on my own, it might have stayed as a dream forever and not executing. Because what Jeremy is good at is making things happen. Like, if there's something we got to do, let's just do it. Let's just buy the van in a week. On the other hand, I'm more conservative. I'm like, are we sure about this? But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like every single episode I always get relationship advice.
And actually, we complement each other really well in constructing the van because, you know, he's more of the technical person.
It's very nice of you to say.
Well, he's more of a technical person, and I'm more of a planner. So when it comes to measurement, building, carpentry, that's my forte, and I love doing it. Or even picking out what wood we're buying, and so on and so forth. But when it comes to wiring, purchasing batteries, like that's his forte. So we kind of split up the work from that point of view.
Yeah. I've been watching some like those DIY home renos, and there's always like a husband and wife team. The wife does all, I mean, not to say that it has to be the wife, it could be the husband.
Yeah.
It does the kind of the decor and like kind of the design, and the husband's in there telling you like, you know, put the varnish on and wait 3 hours, and you know, so you know, it's good tandem there. How's Baker doing? Your dog, by the way.
Doing well.
Having a nap.
Oh, she's like hidden up here, but she's right here.
So has pet ownership, I guess, has it been good for her? Because I guess she's with you guys all the time. There's no like, well, being locked up in the van, I guess during work hours might not be so
Yeah,
great
she
for
doesn't
her.
get as socialization as she used to.
We usually have a dog walker to pick her up from our house. In the past, at least 2 to 3 times, sometimes up to 4 times. But now when Jeremy has work, I would drive the van to work with Baker. And then during lunchtime, I will take her out for a 30 minutes walk, and then another walk after work. So yeah, she doesn't get to interact with other dogs as often. But on the weekend, I try to take her to McDonald Beach for a dog walk.
So pet ownership has been kind of the same as before, or better, I guess. I mean, now you're interacting with her more, right?
I don't know. She seems fine.
Where do you guys keep the dog
Sorry,
food?
our internet got cut.
Oh, it's okay. Where do you guys keep the dog
Oh,
food?
it's
You just make her rice, kanji?
no.
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 She sometimes eats dry food, but sometimes she eats raw food, so we just keep it in our freezer.
Yeah.
How would you say rice and kanji, Paul?
I think I was in a
We
Chinese.
had that last night.
I think was it Vivian's dog that ate that?
We fed
Or cooked
Baker
food,
some
right?
rice before when she wasn't feeling so well when she first arrived to Canada. It helps to soothe their digestive
Apparently,
system.
it's a very simple carb, and you feed it with a little bit of chicken. So it's like very bland, easy food to digest.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I believe it, but I've never. We don't feed her rice anymore.
Yeah. So I guess we touch on, you know, kind of like the why, the how, the past, right? And then we talk about the present in terms of, you know, maybe security measures, right? How your life, living circumstances in the pandemic and everything. So I guess the last thing is, what's your plans moving forward? I don't know, 6 months until the end of summer. I don't know. Are you guys gonna, if up until now you're thinking that you're gonna keep the van moving forward, right? What if the pandemic ends? What if it still exists, stuff like that? Like, is there any, you know, short-term plan or long-term plan?
I think we have to live in it for at least another year, actually at least 2 years, to have enough money to cover the cost. And
Live locally, she means.
live locally to cover the cost, and
still work our jobs.
and also to travel. Our sailboat friends are going down to Mexico next year
2022.
until 2022. So our plan is to meet them there, but we'll see. We'll see how COVID
I think
plays
it's like
out.
September 2022.
Yeah.
Is the plan when we leave here.
But I think when spring comes, when summer comes, we'll definitely go out more often, enjoy the outdoors. Even weekend trips is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, we actually went to New Denver That was back in the summer, right?
It's in the Kootenays.
In the Kootenays. It was so nice traveling in that area where there's not a lot of people. We had a lake all to ourselves. We did stand-up paddling. We showered by the lake.
So you mentioned something interesting about how you financially looked at this, and we didn't really talk about the financial aspect and how. So it's curious because you're saving money anyway. So is the payoff, like when you're talking about like paying it off, is it the van construction because you're saving money, or is that how much the investment actually cost to
well,
get
I mean, we did save a bunch of money before going into it, but we would like to quote unquote recoup the cost.
We had some
like cost benefit analysis, right?
We had saved an amount of money for something which was not this. It was for something else.
Yeah.
And then we decided let's use that
PS5. I know.
It was to pay off something else, but we ended up not paying that thing off and using it to build this.
Build that. Okay.
Yeah, so we have to recoup that nest egg first,
Mhm.
and then basically we're at zero, I guess.
Basically, we have to save enough money to cover the cost of the van, and then save money to not work and travel, which I estimate will be at least 2 years.
Okay. Well, that's good. That's good to have a plan.
Depending on how long we want to travel too, I guess.
And depending on if we can get mobile work.
Yeah, that's another factor too.
A virtual mechanic.
Yeah, maybe.
Could be.
You could be a mobile mechanic. That's definitely a thing.
Other van lifers, just tell us where you are and we'll come change your tire.
There are a couple people who do that.
Yeah.
But they're he's more of a mobile van life conversion guy. So he'll come to your house and build your van for you.
Oh yeah. Because I think your tools would have to be on a trailer or something like.
Yeah.
Just like.
Yeah.
No.
So I don't know if I would do that.
Air compressor, jack stands, that's already quite a bit of space.
Yeah.
Have you guys looked at any of the jobs? What are some mobile jobs you guys have maybe looked at? Consulting.
I mean, obviously they're all internet based. Obviously.
I haven't had much luck finding something mobile that's suitable for me or something that I want to do. But
yeah,
you potentially have.
I have potentially something, but I don't know yet.
More like transaction processing.
Yeah,
right?
it's data entry. It's data entry.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think you need to know specifically who it is.
I think that's the part that I still need to figure out in 2021. And if there's a good solution to working remotely, then I would feel a lot more confident about quitting my existing job and traveling.
Yeah, it's a shame because I am working from home a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, how to buy a nice chair just so I feel like I can sit in the same place for 7 hours or 8 hours. But I think Karina also has to work in the office as well. So it's kind of like a shame, right? Like, we could be, I know you're not supposed to leave the house and you're supposed to leave the city, but like Canadians are going to Hawaii, for example, right? And if we can access VPN in Hawaii, it's better than here in December, let's just say. So it's kind of it's one of those things where like, what's out there that you can work remotely, that it's secure to, like, because if you work for government, you can work a little bit remotely, or banks, right? Like it's regulated. So you need to have access. Like if you want to go to the States once they open up, it's a big hassle to get certain internet access there too. But no, I'm sure there's jobs out there that are going to be more work at home going forward than they are now. So how about recording? Are you guys like recording this journey? Like what's the, you guys need some consultants on that maybe?
No, we thought about it. We definitely tried it in the very beginning when we started the build, but like, I think just the extra work it is to record it and then also like edit, turn it. I guess we could have just taken raw videos and just like left it at that.
No, actually, we don't even have enough storage space.
Yeah, we couldn't even do that because I think it was too much work to like set it up, and otherwise it would just be like a camera off somewhere and it would just be there the entire time. Like you wouldn't see anything because it'd be moving around, and we're not going to spend time to stop the work, the camera, reset it up, do the work, stop, do it again. Like we were no, we're just gonna work now. Like,
I think to me it's joy to a process, so we decided to cut it out. Yeah.
So like I think we just didn't want to. We thought that the you didn't really add anything to document it like that, or at least make it into a document so that we could turn it into some kind of content. Because obviously we thought about it. We were like, what if we had this channel and we could millions of dollars off of it, but
it's not as easy as what people
it's definitely not as easy as it looks, and we were definitely not willing to put in that much work to do it. So,
I mean, not to say that we won't do it in the future, but at least at this point, we're not doing it.
it's not part of our scope to like make content for it.
Yeah, no, me and Nick definitely understand. I mean, the editing for just a podcast and like the cover art and the name and like we're already like
like if you're just doing audio, that's already hard enough, right?
Yeah, because then the more focus is on the audio too, because not everyone has a mic, and so you can't capture the facial expressions of people too. So no, it's definitely hard.
Yeah, I was just a little comment on that. I mean, when I first kind of go into that video editing part for the crew in, I think it was Night Hike or Family Expo or something, like Henry Zhao, my video editor consultant at that time, make me re-edit the video 9 to 10 times before he actually posted it. It was like a 2-minute video.
I mean, it's like any performance, right? It takes years for a good 1-minute performance.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate that. But now that we tackle everything, I guess we need to address the golden question, right? What will be your advice, right, to your 20-year-old self or someone like me who is in their early 20s about experience, about youth development, about like what's the advice that you want to give them that they should take, that they should know going forward in the future?
I would say networking and surround yourself with smart, progressive people who care about their personal development. People like Paul.
I'm on the right path then.
Waiting for the PLP comment there.
That doesn't.
Because I think when you're surrounding yourself with like-minded people who want to be better, it makes you better. It motivates you. It's a healthy competition in a way. And also in the future, you don't meet as many people who you can hang out with all the time. So they're kind of your cohort to rely on. Like they're the people who you can call and help you out when needed. And it's hard to come by when you're in your 30s or 40s, I think. Harder to come by. I wouldn't say it's impossible.
Jeremy, do you have a different answer?
A little bit, I guess. I think like if my advice for a younger person now is to just jump in and try to learn as much as you can. That doesn't necessarily only apply for younger 20s. Obviously still apply for now, like even in your mid 30s or early 30s, like it's still, I would say, but it's just easier in your 20s. But definitely like if you see something that you might be interested in, I think you should jump into it. It doesn't matter. It's if you're kind of interested, and maybe if you don't know if you're interested, because like I think the best thing is to know for sure that you're not interested in it, because otherwise you might as well try something and then you'll learn something out of it. So I think that's definitely something I guess I wish I did more in my earlier 20s.
Yeah, and just to add to that, in my first year of university, I still didn't know what I wanted to study or what I wanted to do. I mean, now I'm still doubtful what I actually want to do in life. But in my first year, all I did was to take many different type of classes as possible. And I thought I liked arts, but after the first class, I realized that it's not for me. So I actually dropped that class and then ruled that out. So kind of to Jeremy's point, just when you don't know, just try as many things as possible. Like get into action.
Yeah, I've been telling the Rovers about strategy. So we've been trying to revamp like strategic planning and stuff. And one of the things that came up a lot was just strategy is knowing what not to do. Because like it's always easy to say, you're going to do this, like we're going to do this. But it's very hard to say, you know what, we're not going to do this and be okay with it. Because it seems like when you're in 20s, you have all this hope. You want to do everything. But then you get older, like you can only do so many things. And they can be great things, but you can't do everything. So knowing what not to do actually helps you do more, not do less by doing stuff that you don't, trying to do. So that's great advice, Nick. Does that help you with your dating life?
I think in a way, doing this podcast is one of those things where you had jumped into action, right?
Yeah.
So congratulations to you for doing something that's different than before.
Definitely, this is like first time experience. I think this is like a bonus for having two people in a podcast at the same time. I get two advices.
I think on your 100th episode, you're gonna look back and be like, "Man, I can't believe my second or third episode used to sound like this."
Yeah,
we might say that in episode 5.
Well, that's a good sign, then. Like that we move people. All right. Anything else, Paul? Do you want to add on?
No, it's been great connecting with you guys and getting a chance to have a bit more of a thorough conversation. We did see each other a couple days ago for our Christmas cook-off that we did. So yeah, it was good to hear your stories, and I think that's really what this show is about, is hearing stories from regular people. No, but it was great, guys. Thank you for doing this with limited information and just trust in me and Nick.
Oh, you guys did a really good job. I think we both had a good time talking to you guys. And it's kind of nice in a way to document this for us as well.
Yeah.
That you can use our footage if you want to actually start creating your documentary now.
We might need you to be our host. Guide us, our consultant.
Yeah, I think there's a great story there, and I think it's all about storytelling. You would be surprised. I kind of got this, not this podcast. I don't even listen. I listen to 1 or 2 podcasts on YouTube, but I was talking to, do you remember Carol?
Yep, Carol Chan.
So I talk to her sometimes about life, work, and stuff. And I had her talk to a rover, and I got connected them together. They were about the same age. And once I put her on the platform, there's so much stuff from her that I never really cared to ask about. And maybe she wasn't willing to share with me when we talked one-on-one. But when I was like, hey, Carol, present your story to this person who you've never met before, who has questions about career, about going to Emily Carr, for the art school. And she just had all these thoughts and things. I thought that was the best conversation I felt like I had with her, but it wasn't like she was talking to me. She was talking to a third party, which I feel like this is kind of like you guys are talking to us. I know some of the things already, but you're also talking to Nick, or you're talking to whoever decides to listen to this thing we're making. And the insight's a little bit different, right? You're a bit more, you're a bit more open. Even you wouldn't, if it was just us talking, I don't think we would have we haven't had these types of frank conversations with our friends a lot either.
Yeah, it's hard when you have a big group Zoom chat, right?
Yeah. Okay, I think that's it. We're a bit over, but thank you guys.
Thank you so much for your time, guys.
Yeah.
Really a pleasure.
And tune in when we start launching these out.
Yeah, it's posted.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Take care.
This podcast is a project created by her 18 Pacific Coast Scout Group, where we created awesome leadership and management training program for 18 to 26 years old. If you want to learn more about us, check out our website and social media accounts, link in description.